at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
It's empowering. You know, I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more.
What up, dogs? Welcome back to another episode of the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. You know, I always forget this fucking part. I'm here. I'm joined by Colette Tini. Is that your last name?
Zdon. Tini is my
That's your maiden name? Okay, Zdon. That's how you say it?
Yeah.
Awesome. What's up, Colette? How are you today? Tuesday. Did you change up your schedule to make it here?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I normally do work out at 8:30, but I wanted to work out with you. So I was gonna take 9:30.
Yeah.
So we could do this afterwards, but I switched it up a little bit.
Sweet. Let's dive right into it. Like, what is your title? Do you have one? Like, when people ask you, what do you do? What do you tell them?
When people ask me what I do, I usually just say I work in fitness. I usually do not say I work in CrossFit because I typically don't want to get into the conversation.
Yeah,
with
I'm over
everybody.
that. So it's like, you know.
And if they ask, I just say, strength and conditioning. If somebody really deep dives into it, then I'll say, that I am a part of the CrossFit community.
All the different things.
Yeah, usually I just don't want to get into like, they think I'm going to recruit them.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah. You want to do some overhead squats with me right now?
Yeah. Like, or I'm sure you've been like a part of conversations where people are like, you're out, whatever, having drinks. And other CrossFitters are like trying to pull people into it.
You can like smell CrossFit on people.
And I'm like, just leave them. Yeah. Just leave them alone. Like if they don't want to do it, it's fine. But I usually just say I work in fitness. Yeah.
Speaking of that, do you get a lot of people approaching you, like telling you maybe about the way you look or asking you if you work out and stuff like that?
Yes.
How does that feel?
Not so much now that I've had 2 kids and I'm working my way back, but like before.
Oh, I'm not gonna let you get away with that. But keep going. I had to call out the last mom I had. That's what I was telling you about. She's like, I'm working through a strength cycle right now to get stronger. I'm like, okay.
You're strong as hell.
You cleared the ladder and Brawl the Burb.
Right.
And I intentionally wrote that to be heavy. So keep going.
Yeah. So people before, or I guess maybe it's more so that I used to be out more, out at bars or whatever, socializing, but people would definitely come up to me and then be like, wow, like you look great. Or they would come up to me and be like, put the weights down, and I'd be like, why is my body offending you?
I've never been there for a situation for a guy to say that to a girl.
So awkward.
And it's so funny that I've been involved in the fitness industry for like the decade now. It's been like 9 hours a day in the gym. So I'm around strong women all the time.
Yeah.
So like, I know about that, but it blows my mind to think of a guy that would say something like that.
Is that unreal?
It's so weird.
And it's happened so many times.
Yeah.
It's not even like that was a one-off. Like that would happen a lot.
Recurrent thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it just my body made them feel insecure.
Yeah.
And, I used to take offense to it, but then I was like, this really doesn't have anything to do with me. This has 100% to do with them and like how they feel about themselves. And like they, because like you said, you're around it, you're immersed in it. So to you, it's normal.
Yeah.
Or to somebody who's confident in who they are, like my husband, for example, he's like, when he met me, he was like all about it. He was like, she's super
awesome.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm around guys that all feel like that. So like, it's like a culture shock to see that. I can't even imagine myself being in a situation. I wouldn't know how to respond to that person.
I'm sure in my earlier years, I was not giving the best responses.
Yeah.
I think if that happened to me now, I would probably just shrug it off.
Yeah. Like whatever, dude.
Or I would say like, I'm sorry that you feel insecure around me.
Imagine the weirdos that say it in person is one thing. The weirdos that comment it online.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I put myself in a situation to see them typing on their phone, saying that. It's like, bro, you're a weirdo.
Yeah. Just sitting at home, like mad at that. The whole trolling thing is super weird. Anyway.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's take it back now. So like, what does a normal week look like for you? You kind of make your own schedule, right? I know you're going to have to adhere to a couple of things. Like we have classes here and stuff, but what does a week look like for you?
It's kind of boring, honestly, especially now. So my main role now in life in these past couple years is I am the main caretaker of the kids. Yeah. So I'm mostly working around them, but the opportunities that I have to work are usually early morning, or once I get them to school, I will do midday stuff. So typical day for me is I'm up at either 4:30 ish, and then I'm off to one of my jobs at Lifetime, and then I'm teaching there or coaching there.
Right.
Come home, daycare drop off, come back. And then I'm here and I'm either training or I'm coaching here.
Ooh.
That's like the normal. And then back.
When you say when you go back, you mean like back home to take care of the girls, something like that.
Yeah. Back home, take care of them or get them where they need to go.
Yeah.
Come in here, train and or coach, and then back to get them with the kids. Yeah. It's a long day.
Right.
It's a long day because once they're home and up from naps, it's relentless, so
that's like constant going. When I texted you last night, I was like, oh, this might be too late because I wasn't sure when you were going to go to sleep.
You're
like an early bird type person. I'm like kind of the opposite, right? Since I've moved most of my day to being like heavy through like 11 through like 6, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like up till 10 o'clock at night now.
Yeah. You teach at night. It's hard to like turn it off when you get home. Like you're tired. Yes. But you're also like, you're still sort of revved up.
I need a little bit of time to like wind it down. I'm definitely not going home and going right to sleep.
No, it's super hard. That's why on Tuesday nights when I coach, that's my hardest schedule adjustment because that's the only evening I coach.
Yeah.
And I get home and it's like this rush to go to bed because I have to get up so early.
Yeah.
I have this new mattress thing that like tracks all my sleep and everything. So I'm like obsessed with that. And I'm like, I have to go. It's almost like it's holding me accountable to like get to bed, as early as possible.
Those things are good and they're bad,
I know.
Those things are going to hold you accountable. It's like until you get that discipline set in. I almost slow roll it on my way back home just to like give myself that extra time, so that I don't feel like I walk right in and like need to get everything done.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate feeling rushed.
No, I don't like that. Especially like rush to slow down. Yeah. It's weird. You're like, this is not intuitive.
That's a good way to think about it. That could be terrible. So where are you from? Did you grow up like in this area?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up early years in Glen Mills, still local to the area. And then we moved to Westchester when I was probably about 13. My parents split and we moved to Westchester. Nice. And then I was there for a while. And then once I graduated from high school, I moved to New York, which I can't even believe, like now being a parent, I can't believe my parents like
let you move to.
Yeah. Just like, I was just like, I'm going to go. At the time I danced, I was like really involved with dance, which is sort of how I segued into fitness anyway.
Yeah. Did you chase dance out to New York? Is that where you went?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went to New York to get an agent and audition. Mm. That was super hard. I did get an agent. I did audition. Then I ended up working bi-coast. I was auditioning bi-coastally for a little while.
Damn.
Because they were like, we can sell your look in LA, but I didn't want to move to LA.
Yeah.
I was too scared. I was like young and I was like, nothing was for sure.
Damn. That's like a crazy way to think about it. You got like an LA, I feel like you got like a both coast look though, I say like Philly to me. I'll look at you and think like you're strong, tatted,
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. They were just like at the time, well, I had a lot less tattoos then. Too,
yeah.
So that's true.
Yeah. Which coast do you think is more known for tattoos? West Coast or the East Coast?
Probably West Coast because it's more normalized.
Yeah. Everybody has their shoulders out all day.
Yeah. And just like everybody, I think it's like the entertainment industry drives the West Coast, whereas here it's more like the business industry.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to be a little bit more buttoned up here.
Yeah.
And
fashion is on the East Coast, right? New York fashion.
That's true.
I don't know. But
I don't know either.
Yeah. So here's an even better question. Which coast is more known for dancing and like the dancing style that you did? So there's like two questions. LA is more known for dancing.
Yeah,
the
I would
dancing
say
style that you did is LA too.
I would say you're going to get more work in LA. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that was wild. I mean, I can't even believe I was doing that at that young age, just like getting on planes and hopping back and forth,
Crazy.
And I would just like I would like land. I was like 19 then. Okay. I would land there with no hotel booked, nothing. And just like take a cab, find my audition. And then I'd backtrack and be like, all right, where's a hotel nearby? Like, that's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
were you like a travel person when you were younger before that?
Not really.
You like, that was like your first time like going off.
It was scary. Yeah. Really cool. Yeah. And then, and when I was 19, I worked in a company. I was back in Philly and I worked in a company, like a hip hop company, all female. And we ended up booking a gig in Japan.
Damn.
And so we went. And I cried the night before. I was so scared to like go that far without my family. I was like terrified.
Are you an only child?
No, I have 2 brothers. I'm in the middle.
Oh, damn.
I was really, really scared to like leave my family and go somewhere I didn't speak the language.
How long was that flight?
I don't even remember.
19, 20 years old.
Oh yeah, it was so many hours. It was so many hours.
And then how was the experience once you got there?
It was not great for 2 reasons. One, I wasn't really friends with the girls that I went with. We worked together. Some of them were okay.
How did you get to that company together?
It was 5 of us.
Like a tryout thing?
Yeah, I had to audition for it.
That's tough.
Yeah, and it was just like some of them were cool. So there was 5 of us total. So like 1 or 2 of them were like a little bit more like they were older. They were leading me. They were showing me the ropes a little bit. And then there was other ones that were just sort of like.
So there's like 2 older, 3 older. Like
2
that.
older. And then there was 3 of us that were around the same age and like sort of new and green.
Because you're kind of competing with each other too, right?
A little bit,
You're going out on stage. You want to get the looks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
And also culturally, I had done, because I was young and stupid, I had done no research at all. So like, I didn't realize like going there, the women in their society have a different role than here. And so I was like, I don't know what I thought. I was just like, this is how I am.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
And going to Japan like you were going to New Jersey.
And they didn't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't like that. So we would go out, we would like do a gig and then we would go out at night to dance, at a club or something. And we weren't used to like their culture. And so like we would just go out on the floor, like there at the time, I can only speak, this is a while ago, obviously, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's unreal. But like there, it was almost like the women were supposed to be asked to come out and dance, like not just be boisterous and come out and dance.
Not have the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't like that.
That's crazy.
It was wild. I wouldn't take back the experience, but I could not wait to come home.
Yeah. How long were you there?
I think we were there for like 10 or 12 days.
Damn.
Yeah. It felt really long since I didn't really enjoy their company. Yeah. So I was just like, oh God.
Yeah. 10 days. So let's take it back before that. How did you get into dance in the first place?
My mom took a class and she begged me to come to like bring a friend day. And I was like, this is so stupid. This is so lame. Damn. And I went and I did it and I was good at it. And then they were like, hey, you're good at this. You should do it.
Yeah.
My parents, like I said, they split. My mom had like no money. So I ended up getting a scholarship, which later turned out that another girl that I danced with, her mom saw that I was passionate about it. Her daughter was like kind of not.
Yeah.
And this mom was really passionate about dance. So she actually paid for me to go to school. So they gave me like this summer scholarship and she actually had paid for me to go take like 4 or 5 classes over the summer.
Wow.
Then I ended up cleaning the studios in exchange for tuition and cleaning the studio director's house.
Wow. How old were you when that started?
Teens.
Damn. You've been grinding for a minute.
Yeah. That was wild. Yeah. I would it was a bummer because I definitely felt like a little Cinderella syndrome, where everybody else was, just sort of like. But
that like instilled like a work ethic in you, though,
for sure.
There was like a downside to it, but you didn't waste it.
Yeah.
And, like luck is supposed to be opportunity beats timing, right? And capitalize on that stuff.
I learned a lot. It definitely shaped a lot of like like you said, like my work ethic.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. And I also worked a job on the weekends. So like I would go to school all day, go right to the dance studio, clean, take 5 or 6 classes a night, help in the office, learned all that, and then on the weekends I would work at like a grocery store. And so it was just like crazy.
You just go time the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Which is like arguably too much for a teenager.
I feel like the kids these days aren't used to that stuff. No. Like I grew up in a similar way, like doing stuff like that. I talked about this with like one of my best friend actually, like last week. I remember being like 22 years old and I had a full-time job working overnights at that time. Like being a manager at Walmart.
Yeah.
And then I had like a part-time job, like at a buffet in the morning. And I was making, when I first started at Walmart, I wasn't making a lot of money.
Right.
And then once I got promoted, like I was making enough to definitely sustain myself.
Sure.
Like, why did I even have that part-time job still? But I kept it for like 3 years and just like,
the hustle was, yeah.
And when I quit the job, I was like, wow, my quality of life is like so
much better. Yeah.
Because I'm not like up all night and like freaking
and then right out in the morning.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I did that hustle basically as long as I danced when I was in dance. After I graduated high school and I was like, I want to do this as a profession. I need to like figure out how to make money doing it. As I was doing that, I hustled like crazy. If I look back on that now, Taylor, there's no way I could like sustain that.
I bet, man. I mean, you're close to it right now, like
it's weird now. It's choppy.
You get other responsibilities, like you're going to have to like cut down those things, but you're still moving like a lot.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and that's the thing. Like you had mentioned earlier, just about the fitness industry and trying to make it work for like a career,
right,
you have to, it is a hustle.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely is. Like, you're not going into the fitness industry to like make the most money in the world. You're going into it because you love it and you've got a passion for it or whatever. And you're good at it. Like, cause you know, I feel like, you know, this too with coaching, you either sort of have it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know,
you can learn a lot of stuff, but like,
if you can't command the room and you can't own that space,
you're either gonna turn it on or you're not.
Right.
You know, it's definitely a big part of it. You can learn to get good at a lot of things, but if you don't just love it and you have it, then it's tough for you.
And I feel like people really underestimate the amount of like sales aspect to this job.
I definitely did when I first got into it. It was hard, and like developing that skill was really what helps your coaching to take off.
100%.
You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you're trying to like supplement, you can't, you know, if you're like, all right, well, I like small group training, cool, or large group training, you know, whatever. Okay, well, that's not really going to pay all the bills. You know, you only have so many classes on the schedule per day. And first of all, who wants to be here
all day
for the 6, the 9:30, the 4:30, 5:30? Like you're exhausted by then.
That's what I did in my first coaching full-time job. And like that's where my money came from. It's like, oh man,
it's such a grind. You're so tired.
Draining, you know.
And then all those downtime hours in between, like that actually ends up being sort of an energy sucker. Because if you're not busy working on something, like did you have other roles that you were?
I did there, but like it wasn't enough, you know, like I didn't have enough of a Rolodex of personal training clients, you know.
Yeah.
The thing that was, I cleaned the gym there. So like that filled up a lot of hours, you know.
Yeah.
But like even here, it's like the podcast helps, and like having a lot more PT clients helps, and like having to have a couple of other clients helps. But like there was a time period where I would have like the 6 a.m. and then maybe not coach again till noon or something like that. So then I just have wasted hours in the middle.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to go home and nap.
Yeah. And like
if I lived close enough.
Yeah, I did that sometimes. Like when I was in Westchester too, back and forth. But did you play other sports growing up besides dance? Like,
no,
you
I was
just went right to
bad
dance?
at sports.
Were you competitive back then, and do you consider yourself a competitive person now?
I don't think I'm competitive, but other people say that I am.
Yeah.
I really feel like, especially with dance being my background, I feel competitive with myself.
Yeah.
I don't really care what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Very rarely. Every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm going to fuck this up right now.
Yeah.
I'm about to like light it on fire.
I love being there for those moments.
Every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm going to tear this up and I'm going to like blow it out of the water, and my body will do it.
Yeah.
So like my body will do it. It's got this like cool little feature where if I really want to like go for it, I can, but I don't have a lot of those in me per week, especially not anymore.
Yeah.
My family is like, we're all athletic. We're all muscular, you know, we're all short, explosive, powerful people.
That's cool.
But we get dinged up easily. So like I get like lots of dings and dents, and that'll slow me down.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'm sure from dance, you learned a lot about yourself and like your body and stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I really
dance fucked me up.
I bet. One thing I really wanted to ask you is like, what do you think about during workouts? Do you have like a place that you go to? Like you were talking about it a little bit right there. Cause like watching you work out, like it's not that you're moving super fast, but you don't get slowed down.
I don't get slowed down, and I don't take a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
If it's a workout that's just grind, like, you know, the one that we did a couple weeks ago was like bike, dumbbell snatch, sandbag.
Sandbag, that's what I have in my mind.
Like that's like, there's no tricky gymnastic to slow you down.
Yeah.
You know, there's no whatever. That one was just like roll up your sleeves and go.
Yeah.
That type of workout, I can very easily slip into like no rest, keep going, and I don't have to go fast. Like you said, I just have to go faster than everybody else.
Right. So that's one of my favorite Colette lines. There's one class where you were like, you know what's funny? I just look over and whoever's going the fastest, I go a little bit faster.
Just go a little bit faster than them.
Like that is really
and
cool.
then you win.
I really like that when you said that.
Because if I go my fastest, that is like that's a scary place.
Yeah.
Like if I go my fastest, I'm like, ugh.
Do you like ever have times where you're like, I'm going to push to my hardest and see what happens here?
I've done it before. Like I've definitely pulled that on a Fran day, or like I had 2 back injuries that took me out for like 6 months each.
Damn.
Just over like really light, dumb barbell. Stupid.
That's the worst when that
just happens. Not moving well,
yeah.
You know? And both times I had to come back to like body weight things, and I would just drill like burpees, like just as fast as I could. So I've done it. For sure. I've only thrown up like one time from working out. So I've never like pushed myself to like the point where I like couldn't, I don't know.
Just been like completely dead.
But I'll go to like the dark place. It doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah. Like we were saying, I look over, like when you say that and I'll see you at a workout, I look over and it doesn't even appear that you're going super fast.
Mm-mm.
But like then you look at the time and you watch you move. Like I was watching you do the sandbags. I was like, I know what's about to happen. And you did the 6 in like 27 seconds.
Yeah.
And then like people later on was taking them like 2 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
Mostly because they're resting, but like you throw that bag.
Yeah.
It's really entertaining to watch.
If it's a short, powerful thing, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, if you told me to like run a 5K, woof, that would take me forever, dude.
I feel that.
Like Murph is going to beat me down. So
because like, I asked that question because in a 5K, like there's so much to think about. I'm just moving, you know.
I don't have that kind of grind.
And I don't like that. Yeah. I don't have that either.
I'll do it. You know, we're like that 10K row that we do once a year.
Yeah.
I love that. I'll do it. I'm just not going to be the fastest one.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get it done, but I'm not like your
Same.
low, slow
Yeah.
athlete. I'm like,
in a 10K, like enough like sink into it, you know, then I start to feel a little bit better.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Once
the
you find
first,
your
like,
rhythm on there.
The first like 400's the hardest part.
Yeah.
You know, after that. But back to dancing and fitness and all that stuff. So did you work out? Did you do like actual in the gym exercise throughout your dance career?
Never joined a gym.
Oh.
I did like those tapes. I did like Insanity.
Yeah.
Which everyone says is like pre-CrossFit.
Yeah. It definitely was. Yeah. P90X.
P90X. I did those at home and danced, you know, and then when I danced, I also supplemented with bartending.
Nice.
Which was great. It was like hard though. It was hard money to get off of that job.
Yeah.
That was a hard switch
Yeah.
to like, when I was like, I can't bartend anymore. I can't take this like treatment and like, it's just a horrible environment.
Another fight for every dollar.
Yeah. I was like, I can't do this anymore. That was like getting off the pole.
For real.
It was like really hard to like make that switch because the money, you're just like rolling in cash. But I did my tapes and I danced. And then my brother, here's how it happened. My brother went into CrossFit with a partner. They owned the original CrossFit Conshohocken and together. And he was like, come do this. Like you'll be a shoo-in. You already know everything. Like you already know how the body moves. You already move groups of 50 people.
Right.
You already tell everyone like where to put their hands, where to put their arms, where to put their feet.
Were you teaching dance classes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was teaching, I was choreographing. Like, so, I mean, I was like fully making money in that world. And I had seen a lot of dancers burn out.
Yeah.
And just do it like begrudgingly. And I always told myself, like, when that time comes for me, like when I don't feel this anymore, like I gotta stop. Like I don't want to do it for 5 or 10 more years.
I'm not going to do it if I hate it.
I'm not going to do it if I hate it.
Yeah.
It's just because it was like, I was lucky to live art and be able to like make a money, like make a living doing it.
Right. That's a dream for so many
people.
Great.
It was great. It was such a hustle, but like, it was awesome that I was like, cool, I provide for myself doing this.
Yeah.
But when I wanted to stop, I stopped and I bartended for like, I don't even know, like maybe close to a year just doing that. And my brother at that time was like,
transferring it to
come
CrossFit.
do this. Yeah. So I went and I took a class. I loved it. I think that was the class I threw up in. I think it was my first class.
The very first one.
I think so. Cause I was like, cause I was like, we're all like going
fast. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it is competitive.
Yeah.
You know? So I did that class. I only CrossFitted for like 3 months. I remember it was like 3 months. And then he sent me for my level 1 here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I remember calling him from the parking lot and I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. What is happening?
These people are huge. Like it was all these like big dudes. And I was like, I don't know anything about anything.
And then when you walk in the door, you feel like everyone knows it all, you know, off of that, what you were just saying.
Oh my God. That was the first lesson I learned though. Like you can apply that to every competition.
Yeah.
You walk in, you size everybody up and you're like looking around at who looks like they're going to be good.
Yeah.
And then who's actually good.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay.
That's a really fun thing to like experience.
Yeah.
Like you walk in and then, no, you know what I was going to say? Back to like the being competitive thing, that same workout, the dumbbell snatch one, that's how the workout starts. And we're all doing it. And then you get to like rep 14 and you get that feeling of, oh, everyone's going to go unbroken.
Yes.
So we're all doing this together. Like when we did that, I was like, wow, this is like why I love CrossFit.
I know.
Moments like this, you know, like
absolutely.
No one's dropping that dumbbell and you can clearly hear and feel it. And you're like, I'm not going to drop it either.
Yep.
You know,
I know. So when I was pregnant, I had really rough pregnancies and I had to like sort of just do bodybuilding stuff at the gym, like super low impact. And I was like, I hate this. I was like, if this was my experience, if I walked in to fitness, like, let's say I was like overweight or whatever, and I was like, I got to get in shape. And I went to a gym and that's what they introduced me to. I personally would have never went back.
Yeah.
I would have never had any kind of longevity in fitness.
Because CrossFit's fun, and that's like
It's
one
so
of the
fun.
big selling points.
It's fun. You're with your friends. You are pushing each other, like you said. Like, that's the thing that keeps me in it. I mean, I'm 12 years in now. Like, I know. That's wild.
That's awesome to think about, though. So what was your first experiences lifting, like squatting, deadlifting, anything like that?
It was all
like when you were at the gym? No one had broken down a squat for me before. Damn. Until I started CrossFit. Were you strong, like right from the beginning?
Was I strong?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Like, I think the body mechanics that I brought with me from all those years of dancing, I definitely had a leg up for sure. And I was strong from that, you know, but I ate like trash. I ate like a 5-year-old child.
I mean, everyone did when they were first, you know.
God, I used to eat like chicken nuggets and Sips iced tea box. And that would be like what I was sustaining a 305-pound back squat on.
You know what was like my go-to? The Lipton iced teas. The really big one.
Yeah.
Drink those and then like there's like a McDonald's down the street from my, oh my God.
Horrible.
I would have all the time.
Oh man.
Right before CrossFit, like literally a year or two before. You know,
terrible.
Probably going into it. I feel like when I first joined a CrossFit gym, I was going to a Planet Fitness at the time.
Yeah.
And there was a pizza place right next to the Planet Fitness,
place.
you know, so you could smell it like while you're in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
I would go over there all the time. When I first started CrossFit, I hadn't quit smoking cigarettes yet.
Oh, really?
I did that quick though. Like I went cold turkey because I didn't really like smoking cigarettes. I just did it to be cool.
Just did it. Yeah.
Like it was actually disgusting. And like, I smoked Newports too. It was terrible.
You really went for it.
Yeah, I really went for it too. Like hundreds of all things. You know, that's what they sold as Lucy's in the city. You know, like they sold Newport 100. So that's why it's terrible. So you like acclimated quickly. Which one do you think was better for you coming from your dance background? Like gymnastics, because that transfers over really well, or like weightlifting?
I think the barbell came easier.
Oh, okay.
The gymnastics was a struggle. It was strong, but like I definitely feel like the biggest accomplishment I have made in my fitness journey has been a strict pull-up.
Right.
I'm like, that was just the journey to get from off the band to doing that. It took forever, but I was just like, I am getting this. I saw a girl at my CrossFit when I was still new. I didn't see a lot of girls doing pull-ups, and this girl came in and one day she did she did the workout RX and she did butterfly pull-ups. And I was like, wow,
that's amazing.
I have to do that. But it took forever. Yeah. The gymnastics is hard. It's still hard.
Yeah.
And I'm good at gymnastics, but it's still struggle. You know, that's the pain
I feel like
point.
they make everything else better too.
They do.
If you get strong at that, you get better at everything else.
But a lot of that is like body weight, you know, like ever since I've had kids, I haven't been back to my normal body weight. And it's like 5 extra pounds or whatever it is on a muscle up.
Oh my God.
Detrimental to you being able to do one at all.
Yeah.
Or
like
let
linking
alone,
them together. Yeah. For
100%.
sure.
Or putting them in a Metcon.
Yeah.
You know?
I have like these moments all the time that probably once every 2 months where I'm like, oh, my PT clients need to be able to do pull-ups. That's what we need to work on, you know, because like be able to jump up and do a pull-up. It's an easy expression of fitness. And it's like a really, really good one too.
Yeah.
You know? It tells me a lot about like your strength level, fitness level.
100%. I'm on my strict pull-up game. You know that though.
That's awesome. I need to get back
on. I play around with that.
It's so tough back and forth. I feel like I have this knot right now between my lat that makes like everything hard.
Oh yeah.
You know? The bench press made it hard. Like not like it's going to change it completely, but throws it off just enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But so tell me about more. How did you keep going into the coaching thing, personal training thing? How'd that journey go?
So I got my NASM back in the day. Biggest regret is I did not keep it up.
Yeah.
So I lost that. But so I took that. It was super hard while simultaneously training. I got my level 1 and I was like training. I had to train for a long time, like shadow.
Yeah.
I had to train for a long time. My brother was not playing around with that. He was like, you don't talk, you know, you're just going to listen to me and watch. And, you know, I'm going to break it down for you. So as I was doing that, I was studying for my NASM, got that. And then I don't remember taking on personal training clients for a while. Yeah. I didn't really get into that for a while. Later in the game, I started getting a few, maybe 3 or 4 at CrossFit. And then when my brother decided he didn't want to do it anymore, he closed his gym and I went over to Lifetime. And then that's when I was like personal training for like the bulk of it. You know, I did some small group there. Was I at CrossFit? I was just going to CrossFit to train. I wasn't actually coaching CrossFit at the time. I was just going there to train. And that was when I was like working in PT fully. I did not enjoy that. It's hard.
No group classes over at Lifetime originally?
I think I did like maybe 1 or 2, like, but it wasn't the bulk of my day.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a lot of just back-to-back clients.
Yeah. That's a lot too.
It was a lot. It was really draining.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you have the group, they feed off of each other.
Right.
So they help fill the room with energy. When it's just you and the client, it's like
just you guys.
It's definitely, and some people thrive with that. Like some people are really good at that. And for me, it felt really draining, especially because if I have a private client at CrossFit, they're probably a different nature of person.
Right.
They're probably a little hungrier. They're probably a little bit more like, I want to get after this.
Yeah.
The clients I have or had at Lifetime, really that was definitely more of a on the sick side of like, these people are not really well.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with a lot of
rehab stuff type things.
Yeah. You're dealing with a lot of like bringing them back to life type of stuff. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They're trying to throw money at it.
Yeah.
So they think like, it's enough to say I pay for or I have a trainer.
Yeah.
But they're not coming in and rolling their sleeves.
Working on it, loosely.
Right. They come in, they just want to talk, you're like, okay, cool. Next set, and they're like, they're dragging their feet. So I didn't have like a ton of go-getters there.
Yeah.
So I think that also contributed to like me not really, it didn't like
fall in love with it.
Yeah.
I feel that. It's tough if someone's not fully invested.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple people that I was like, I liked them a lot.
Yeah.
And we would like chat it up, but
are you getting anywhere?
And then, you're the first one to blame as soon as they're not.
Yeah.
Of course it's not their nutrition. I'm like, dude, I see you twice a week.
Right.
2 hours.
Literally.
That's it.
Right. 24 times 7 is the rest of your week. So what's going on with those
I'm like,
hours?
you got to still be doing other things to contribute here. It can't just be, and they're like, I'm not losing any weight. It's your fault. You're like, what? Yeah. So that was kind of wild.
So when you were first training at CrossFit, right? Like teaching the classes, were you dancing then or bartending then before you went to Lifetime?
I was done dancing. When I was teaching at CrossFit, I was still bartending to supplement income.
Yeah.
I slowly peeled that back. So as I gained more roles and responsibilities at CrossFit, I ended up being sort of like the director of operations. Like I sort of did a little bit of everything. Once I was like a key player and I had a salary, wasn't much, but I had a salary, I could live on that. And then I think I dropped down to like once a week. I would bartend like once a week just to supplement a little bit.
Right.
I'd also bought my house at that time. So I was just like poor, I was just like super poor
with somewhere to live,
Yeah. I mean, when my husband met me, he was like, I literally don't know how you were living on your own. Cause I just didn't make a lot, but I made it work, whatever. So, so when I was, that was like a transition of like building my role at CrossFit and building my coaching and slowly getting rid of the supplemental income so that I was just working in fitness. Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit before, like just personally, right? But just like with guys looking at you and being like, you're too muscular. What's it like for you as a woman to then deal with guys in your class, like on their strength days, you're trying to teach them something like that? Have you ever faced like hyper masculinity?
Sure.
Like they can't learn from a girl?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Yes to that. So I will tell you this, the biggest thing that's changed that for me is me. So like when I had less of an ego around it, when I had a bigger ego when I was younger, I was like, why won't you listen to me? Or why won't you take this off your butt? Now I feel like I have so much less ego around it that it just goes a lot smoother.
Yeah.
So when someone doesn't want to listen, or when I don't know, I don't run into it that much anymore. And I don't know if it's just because like, whatever, like maybe they know I'm strong, so they're going to listen, or I think it's just like, you get ahead of it, like you get ahead of it in your coaching, in the warm up as you're progressing them through. So it's not like I didn't lay the foundation and then all of a sudden they're trying to go too far too fast.
Yeah.
I will say though, the culture here, so much less of that.
Right. It kind of eliminates itself. It kind of course corrects,
Yes. And then like I've coached other places. We won't say where. I've coached other places and
it's rampant.
And it's like they're throwing weight on the bar. And you're like, whoa. Like, what's going on with that? The hypermasculinity thing, where I experienced that the most was grooming new coaches. If there was a guy coming up underneath me and I was getting him up to snuff, I would feel a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
And I would even ask Amy, I'd be like, do you also get this pushback? And she just doesn't really care. Like, she's just like, I don't know, maybe they're doing that, but I don't really like pay it any mind.
Girls right through it.
100%. Yeah. And I would be like a little more sensitive to it. But like, you know, when I had like a female coming up under me, it was a lot less.
Yeah.
A lot less of that. That's where I would see it the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely like, I don't need to listen to you.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's weird.
It's tough to
Or
through.
I remember when I was coaching Ben up, he was brand new.
Yeah.
And like people would in class go and ask Ben question over asking me. And I remember thinking like, wow, that is crazy. Like, it's because he's the man.
Yeah.
You know, it's because he's the man in the room and I'm a girl. And they're going to ask him over me, even though everybody in the room knows I'm training Ben. You know, like now it wouldn't bother me at all because he's my equal and, you know, whatever. He might have an answer that I don't have. But yeah, that was wild.
Damn, it's crazy to think about.
It used to hurt my feelings more. Now it doesn't hurt my feelings as much.
Yeah. So you're like, I've seen you command a room. That's like a big part of being a coach, right? Like you're a leader to me, like from an outside position. It's clearly evident. Have you always been that way? Have you always been like
I think so, yeah.
Take charge person?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been like that.
So that's
sometimes not too good.
That's why it was hard to like be in like a troop before and stuff like that. It's hard. It's hard to put together a lot of high, like performing people in a room.
Dude, every day, Taylor, I'm trying to work on. Yeah. I'm trying to work on stuff. Like, yes, that comes naturally to me, but like sometimes to a fault, you know, sometimes too much.
So, I mean, same way, because then it's hard to take like a back roll too, you know?
Yeah.
And it's difficult.
I can beta for sure. I totally can. Yeah. It's awkward for me if there's two. Yeah. It's a little awkward if like we're both alphas. Yeah. I can beta. I just need to feel comfortable.
Right.
If I feel comfortable, like it's a safe relationship, I can do it.
Yeah.
If I don't if I'm unsure of the relationship dynamic, then it's like when I originally linked up with Amy, I was like, it's really hard for me to like, do I alpha? Do I beta?
Both,
because we're both like that. So like, now I am comfortable to be like, you run it, I'll back you up.
Yeah.
Or if she hands me the baton, I'm like, cool, I got it. You back me up. Yeah. Like, but I don't know. That's something I'm like always working on that.
It's good because people need something to be grinding away at, you know, to be working on about themselves.
Dude, therapy for life.
Yeah.
I'm a twice a month for the rest of my life.
Dude, inside of me, I want to listen to a therapy podcast.
Seriously.
like forget about fitness. Like I keep trying to have as many therapists as possible.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Talk to them about like, so here's a question I have for you. Like this is what I ask them a lot. So for a lot of us, the gym is a safe space, you know, before we get into teaching. And that's why we want to give back. Is it still like that for you? Like, are you still able to go into the gym and unwind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely when I come in here, I feel like it's like home.
Yeah.
I can like put my stuff down and I feel like comfortable.
Right.
It's a comfort. I don't feel that way at Lifetime.
I was going to ask that.
No, I don't at all. I don't. And sometimes I have to work out there, like depending on the schedule.
Yeah.
If I have a client later, because I do have clients there, if I have a client later, I might have to work out there. It's a totally different vibe. I definitely don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I can like relax into my lifts.
Yeah. Does it feel like work there? That feels like actually a job.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is for sure a job.
Yeah.
It's a nice, cushy job. Like when I walk in there, I'm like, this is beautiful.
Right.
I mean, come on, like
great.
Yeah, exactly.
You
like
know?
The AC, it's beautiful. There's, so many amenities and all that I could take advantage of, but like, it's not my heart the way it is here.
Yeah.
Like I love to come in here and work with everybody and just be a part of the community. But like when I'm over there, it's definitely like, I'm checking that clock.
Yeah. Corporate wellness jobs is definitely like, you have to turn it on when you walk in there versus here. This is just like your genuine personality.
Yes.
You know, you get to share with people every day and they receive that like in the ways that they do.
Yeah. Yeah. There. And everyone, that whole like corporate Kool-Aid is so weird to me.
Yeah.
Like that whole, like, I don't even know how to explain it. They're just
Lifetime's essentially just networking, and it can be great networking, but it's essentially that's what it is.
It's weird.
They have it on the schedule as a trainer, right? What do they call it? Where you have to like just talk to people as they walk on the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they usually do that for the new trainers and stuff. But so I've been able to see you kind of rebuilding back over the past 2 years, like into an athlete there. What was it like in your initial transition into being a mother as an athlete, as a coach?
Ooh.
Scary.
That was hard. I did not handle that first one with grace at all.
It's tough, man.
It was really hard. I had rough pregnancies. So I thought I was going to be like Little Miss CrossFit, working out the whole time. Didn't. Was super sick. Harlow came early. I had postpartum depression and anxiety. it was really rough.
Yeah.
And then figuring out where the workouts or where my training fell in line as far as my priorities after that, which I still think is tricky.
Yeah.
That's still something I'm like,
it's a lot. It's a lot for new moms to take on, man. Like
easily
it's really admirable.
Yeah. Easily it's knocked to like the third or fourth or fifth thing that day. You know, all of a sudden your kid gets sent home sick from school or they wake up with a fever. It's like, all right, cool.
Whole day's over, maybe the week.
Maybe even the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like, that still is something I'm like navigating and, you know, it can be challenging, but I think the more expectation you have around it, the harder it is. If you're able to sort of be like, hey, today I got my workout and that was awesome. That might not be the case tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you sort of have that expectation, it's a little bit easier to like roll with it.
Yeah.
My husband really struggled with that a lot after the first kid.
So you work out a lot too?
He does. He is a trainer. He works out at home. I'm not the trainer. He won't train with me.
That's tough to like, I had an ex that I trained before and it was the detriment of our relationship 100%, you know. Did you have any like mentors or places to go when you were struggling with postpartum depression?
I didn't know I had it for like a couple months because it was also COVID and weird. And then I had been in therapy before and I took a break, and then about 4 months, which is so long.
Yeah.
About 4 months in, my husband was like, I think you have postpartum. Like, we need to get help. And so I did. I was able to get a therapist like right away, and I just started working on it.
That's awesome. Did you open back up like right away? Because if you take a break from therapy, it can be hard to get back into it.
No, I'm always like, therapy for me is like, there's no point unless you're going to just like be raw. In.
Yeah. So
I go every other week to just maintain and like try to work through, you know, mental health issues and all that stuff. And for me, I almost gear up like before, because I know I'm going to have to be really vulnerable. And, but I want to get what I can get out of it. So there's no point unless I'm going to do the deep dive.
Yeah.
That can be hard. It's like really emotionally exhausting.
Yeah. Do you have like other things you do to work on yourself in between times before therapy? Like, do you journal?
I do journal now. Yeah. Which I find really hard. Do you journal?
Oh, it's so hard, man.
Why is it so hard?
I don't know. Like, this is a better outlook or outsource for me. Like, sometimes I'll even just record and like not even put it out, you know, like as a therapy form, like, cause it's like, I'm an auditory person, you know, talking and listening. So it's better for me to do that. I used to do solo episodes on like, they were mental health geared. They were draining. It was hard. And it's crazy because those are the most listened to episodes.
Oh yeah. People love it.
I haven't done one since last summer, maybe. And those are still the most listened. They still get like downloads and stuff now.
Really?
But they're a lot. Like it's hard to be like, just like you said, that vulnerable.
Yeah.
With someone they're going to keep it to themselves, it's a little bit easier. It's still really hard. But then like knowing that I'm going to put this out into like the universe, people are going to listen to. Like, I remember when someone talked to me about something that I said on one of the solo podcasts, it was about like identity. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that I said that on there. Oh. And they were like, that resonated with me. So it was like a compliment.
That's really cool.
But it's like, oh wow, I forgot that you were going to hear that and then be able to like respond to me in person about it.
Yeah.
So like, I got like, it's tough, right?
That's really wild.
I got like imposter syndrome that I'm literally still trying to like deal with now. Like, okay, go back to the solo episodes, you know?
Yeah.
So now like I had a sex therapist on like a few weeks ago.
That's cool.
So we were able to talk like a lot about different things. So
that's cool.
I was able to get that outlet like that. But yeah, dude, journaling's hard for me. It's hard to sit down, like write my thoughts, because like, I'm sure for you too, you try to do things like well, or like be like really good at stuff. So you want to journal well too.
It took a lot of like trial and error. It took a lot of like, I was like, what kind of journaling am I capable of?
Yeah.
Now I just do it in my notes in my phone. You know, I just like, that's literally
write stuff out. Yeah.
I'll just be like, yo, I feel like shit today.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or I had a big one for me is like, I struggle a lot with relationships with people. So like somebody would say something to me or whatever, I would be really upset by that. I would have to like that might rock me for like 2 days.
Right. It's hard, dude. Because like
it's hard.
I consider myself an empath, and I think that's like one of my biggest traits when it comes to coaching.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to like meet people where you are, and like I'm not always super successful every day, but then you feel other emotions, and it might not be what someone intended to do. Because everyone's doing a million different things every day. So someone might have said like one sentence to you, and you're like, that meant nothing to them, but you're thinking about it 3 days later.
Oh yeah.
You know,
a lot of that is like, I didn't have the most, you know, people have 100% had it worse than me, but I had a lot of trauma in my upbringing. And I think a lot of that left some pretty residual damage on my just, I guess, personality or thought process, or the way that I like view the world, or the way that I view other people.
And then you're unpacking it 20 years later.
I have to continue. And it's like it's my reflex. That's the reflex that I have learned, to unlearn it and to like respond differently. Like, boy, do I mess that up a lot. Like I mess it up all the time. Like I'll say to Ben a lot, I'll be like, I said the wrong thing again. He's like, I'm sure it's fine. And I'm like, no, I said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like I said the wrong thing. And then but the thing for me now that's been huge is like, I've just been like, it's not, I said to my husband the other day, I was like, saying sorry isn't easy, right? It's not, but it's easier than like living with the yuckiness.
Yeah.
And I just can't live with the yuckiness.
So
if I feel like if I really don't feel like I did a good job, I'm just like, that wasn't a good job.
And then, you know what, on top of that, I think saying sorry to someone else is hard, but then forgiving yourself when you know that you said the wrong thing, it's like, because
I struggle with that.
You can say sorry to that other person, but then actually being like, all right, I'm
walking around with it.
Yeah, being like, all right, I'm sorry for that. And I'm just going to try better next time. That was like so hard for me to, and I'm still working on it, just like you're saying,
It's hard.
It's hard. It's a crazy thing.
Oh my gosh. I goofed something up like last week, and I was like, I walked around with that for like a couple of days, even though I corrected, I was like, sorry, my bad. I misspoke or whatever. It was, I had to like journal it. I had to talk about it in therapy.
Just last night, we had that half-hour workout. Well, some people were like 34 minutes over.
Yeah.
And like, I think that to people like us, if our class goes over, we take that more serious than like the athletes will. Even the people in the next class, I don't think any of them care that it was like 4 minutes over because they knew they were about to go do it too. But like Rebecca was still working, and it was 6:30, 6:32, and I turned the music down. I thought she was done. She's like, I'm still going. And I said, hurry up. I didn't mean anything by it. But then like right afterwards, I'm like, why did I say that? Like, why did I say that? And then 5 minutes later, after she cleaned up, she's walking out. She's like, I'm starting my next class. She's like, bye, Taylor. See you later. And like, to me, I was like, okay,
she's cool.
Yeah. Like
she's all right. Yeah. I need to let it go.
I'm just being a psycho about it. And then I'm driving home still thinking about it.
Oh my God. I hate when I do that when I'm coaching.
I'm like, oh God.
I did that to M a couple weeks ago. I like said the wrong thing. And I was like, I moved on, and we like I kept coaching, finished up. All right, guys, bathroom break. And then I was like, M, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. Like, I shouldn't have said that way. I should have said it this way. And this is how I meant it. And that is how I meant it. It just came out all shitty.
Yeah.
And she didn't even care. She was like, okay. Or maybe she did. I don't know. But like, it didn't appear.
Most likely she was just like, I don't even remember what you're talking about.
That's fine. She was like, that's fine. I'm going to just do what I was going to do anyway. But yeah, I know.
That's so crazy. So how are you handling right now, be it a mom, an athlete, teacher? Like, where do you feel like you are?
I don't know. I want to be better.
Yeah.
I would say there's a lot of room for growth there. That would be a nice way to say it. I think I'm working on the balance portion of it. And I'm also working on, like, I find motherhood to be hard. It's like, I know a lot of women really project that it's so easy. It's so effortless. It's so easy. It's not for me. It's not. I love my kids. But like hanging out with them all day, every day, like it's not the most stimulating thing. Sometimes it feels lonely, it's not.
You miss adult time.
Yeah, totally. So I think that I still definitely am like working on. So coming here and doing this is like for me, which is great.
Yeah. I remember when you were first coming back, you were so excited to like just be around a couple of adults, and it was only for an hour, right? In the very beginning, you only had those. Like,
sometimes it still is. Sometimes it still is. Like, or sometimes I have to really watch myself because I will self-start my workouts. Like, I'm good at doing that. I'll go to like a grindy place by myself. I don't have to be with the group. I'll do it on my own. But sometimes I'm like, no, I need to take class today.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be with people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that was a hard Band-Aid for me to rip off because especially after the pandemic, quarantine, everything, I was so used to being solo. And like, I had a similar feeling to the dumbbell snatch thing. You finally do take a class. And you're like, oh, this is fun. This is a lot better. People dying next to you.
I know. So even now, like if somebody like, you reach out like, hey, I'll work out at 8:30. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
As long as like, even if there's one other person, I'm like, it's just a totally different
taking those
vibe.
Opportunities. Yeah, it's so much better. Like, even though I clocked my last clean, I probably would have stopped before that.
I do that a lot.
If I wasn't solo.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Then like that last overhead spot, just a little bit too rushed.
Yeah, I like gave up after that.
Yeah, this is a hard one because it's like you got to do 3 things and like you only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Unless you're like working out at 1 o'clock, you have a full day.
Yeah.
But Colette, last question I ask everybody: what are you the most hungry for right now?
Oh wow. My biggest thing right now. I'm definitely trying to get back to like my fight weight. So that's something I'm really like trying to grind through. And it's different now because I'm 38 and I have 2 kids and it's just not the same.
Yeah.
That, and I am constantly trying to learn more. So, just retook the level 1. That was great to refresh all that information. I haven't seen it in 12 years. You live it, but you're not doing it, to taking courses online, stuff like that. So I'm really trying to push forward and like building the confidence between that education piece, and building the confidence just in my own body and my own skin coming back from having 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel good. It's just, again,
I always want a little bit more.
Yeah. I want a little bit more. Like, I want to really feel like myself. It's hard to feel like yourself after you have kids. You're not yourself. You're different.
Yeah.
You kind of like miss the self that you were before.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be 100%, but you want to get close. So I feel like that's probably what I'm like most hungry is.
Something that I've heard about, especially from new moms, like, did you feel like a mom right away? Like as soon as you had your first?
I did. I felt like a mom before.
Really?
Yeah.
When you were pregnant?
I was just always like kind of motherly, even with my brothers and
momish,
stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you got a younger brother and older brother too.
Yeah. My older brother's gay. So I mothered him a lot because he was always picked on.
Yeah.
And then my younger brother was 4 years younger than me. And my mom was like not mentally stable.
Yeah.
So I mothered him a lot.
Yeah.
So I always sort of felt like it in my self, but like the logistical, and like this, that was hard to just get rid, like to implement it and like be doing it in practice every day. Like that was an adjustment.
Yeah.
But like the feelings, I always felt like that.
That's awesome. Colette, I feel like this has been a great episode. I feel like this has been another therapist episode.
That's fun. So fun. This was way more fun than I thought. I was really nervous.
Yeah, it's hard. I think you would be really good at it too.
This was fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Talking to people.
Thanks for letting me do it.
All right, dogs, we're going to get out of here. Check out Colette's episode. Go follow along with all of her athlete and mom duties. Peace.
Bye.